That penalty for Robert Lewandowski at the weekend made it 40 goals so far this season in all competitions. Now, he was asked about fellow strikers and who he rated the highest.
Karim Benzema, Timo Werner. I say about the typical striker, yeah. So in this moment, Luis Suarez, and I have still two. So Sergio Aguero, and the last one. Yeah, Leo Messi is not the typical striker. That's why I don't say that Messi or Ronaldo as well. Or okay, I say no because there's another position. I think so. So maybe the next striker, the typical central striker, is like okay, Kylian Mbappe.
Frank's still with us as we welcome Ali Moreno to the show. It just sounded like Lewandowski put a lot of work into thinking about that top five and didn't just name the first five strikers really he thought of. But let's go with this anyway, shall we? Timo Werner in the top five, of course. No Erling Haaland. No Harry Kane for me, Ali, was the big standout.
Yeah, so let's address Erling Haaland, and I think both Frank and I think the world of Erling Haaland as a player, and that his future is so very bright, and he may very well be at the top of this list in the next few years as his game grows and matures. However, I don't mind the fact that Lewandowski doesn't include him. As for Harry Kane, if you're talking about out-and-out strikers in the world with the productivity that he has had in the Premier League, with the productivity that he has had in terms of what his game has become and continues to be, outside of the injuries, Harry Kane is certainly in the top five out-and-out strikers in the world. And so when Lewandowski is thinking about out-and-out strikers, then he has to consider the fact that Kylian Mbappe is not really an out-and-out striker. He's not your typical number 9. Harry Kane is. Mbappe is a wonderful talent, but not quite a number 9 just yet. And so I would have Harry Kane in, Mbappe out. However, I would also make the very clear note here that I would include Kylian Mbappe in any of my teams.
Frank Leboeuf?
Well, I'm pleased with what he said, but I would include, of course, himself. I think Lewandowski is maybe right now the best striker, and he should be in that list. But of course, I agree with Ali. Kylian Mbappe, even if he played like half of the season as a striker, is not ready yet. Can be named a striker. He needs to involve his game, and I think he's in a better position when he plays either on the left side or the right side. For me, Timo Werner needs to show me a little bit more and maybe see him in a bigger club to be in the first five. And it's why Harry Kane, with what he proved the recent seasons, should be in that list. And Haaland can show his nose and maybe be in the 5th position instead of Kylian Mbappe.
Luis Suarez, is he top 5 striker still, Ali?
Barely hanging on. But he's there, because even now, at this point in his career, you look at the movement of Luis Suarez off the ball, and I know that Frank has some sensitivity when it comes to Luis Suarez's behavior, but let's just talk about the soccer ability and his movement off the ball, the way he draws defenders in, the way he fakes for a run into the near post and ends up popping up at the back post. He just sets defenders in a way in which he still doesn't have to be the fastest guy on the field to get in behind because of his knowledge and understanding of the position, the usage of his body, how defenders just kind of roll off his back because he's able to angle his body in a way in which it allows him to turn. He still has all of those things. Now, of course, injuries are an issue. Age is an issue. Perhaps productivity is not what it has been in years past. But I still think that Luis Suarez at his best is very much one of the best out-and-out strikers in the world.
No question, in his prime, the best. Where is he now, though? If you had to choose, Ali, him or Aubameyang. So Suarez now.
I'm taking Luis Suarez still. I'm taking Luis Suarez still. I don't have an issue whatsoever in picking Luis Suarez. And and Aubameyang, while you may consider him an out-and-out striker, he's very similar to me in terms of Kylian Mbappe, a guy who needs space to run, needs space out in wider areas. He sometimes throws himself into wider areas because that's where he thrives in finding that space in behind. I don't think of him as the sort of guy who moves off the ball in a center striker position the same way that a guy like Agüero does and a guy like Luis Suarez, even Harry Kane does. There's a certain innate ability to be able to find those little gaps and those little spaces the way that Lewandowski does as well. And in order to do that, you have to have that skill set and that recognition of where your movement has to be in order to confuse defenders and make sure the defenders are always searching for you rather than you making this into physical battles or trying to get in behind in some other difficult way down the sides. If you're going to stay central, you have to recognize those spaces, and nobody does that better than Luis Suarez in the world.
So, Frank, if we're going for your top three, we've got what? Are we going Lewandowski, Kane, Agüero? Is that where we are? Where are we?
On the top three, Lewandowski, Benzema, and Agüero. About Luis Suarez, just my thought about him. Of course, I'm not a big fan of him, and he's not in my heart in terms of behavior. But what a player! I mean, he showed for a decade the quality that he has as a striker, and he's a fantastic striker. And no comparison even with Aubameyang. I think we reached the top, the world class, and he is a fantastic striker. I don't forget about. Also about Cavani. Cavani, of course, is not in that list because he's not at his best and maybe for the last 2 years. But I have a thought about him because he has been during his long career a fantastic striker. I just have a thought about him.
But how can you have him as a... Yeah, you just said he hadn't done it for 2 years, Frank.
And I say Lewandowski is maybe the best. Yeah, so I put Lewandowski, if it's your question, because I'm not sure I heard it properly, but no,
you answered it correctly. But then you bring up Edison Cavani for no reason because you said he hasn't been that good for 2 years.
No, I just want to and also make a tribute to Cavani for his career because we are talking about strikers, and you cannot forget a fantastic player. He's still playing, so he's not done yet. And it's why I want to talk about him because I mean I love the player, I love his behavior, I love everything about him. He's just maybe too old and he's striking at Paris Saint-Germain. That's it.
Come on, Dan. You know that Frank has a soft spot for Cavani, and if for nothing else, he will tell you that, hey, Cavani's good looking. He dresses well. He has a nice haircut and good parents. All these things that we heard before in the comparison between Cavani and Luis Suarez, it's all come from Frank, and you know that Frank loves Edison Cavani.
It's the hair. That's what pushes it over the edge. Frank just envious of those flowing locks.
That's it.
Top three, Ali, who've you got?
Top three, I would have Lewandowski, I would have Sergio Agüero, and I would have Luis Suarez.
Really, Ali?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What?
No, you cannot.
I'm sorry. Did I throw some names?
What
out
about
there that
Karim
were crazy
Benzema?
Or out of this world, or what?
What's wrong?
What did I say? Did I put
Karim,
myself
yes,
on
of
the
course.
list by accident? What did I do?
Well, you last time put in doubt, the thing that think about football, even when I put Milner as a top ever player. But Karim Benzema, I mean, for a decade, how many goals he scored for Real Madrid? How many Champions League he won? I mean, I don't know. You cannot put Benzema out of the best three strikers, my dear Ali, even if
I'm
it
sorry.
was your position.
Okay, so who are you taking out? Who are you taking out, Frank?
Your big friend Luis Suarez.
Ah, there it is. There it is. We got him. We got him.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
you're good. You're good at it. You're good.
Frank Leboeuf.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.